Hello, welcome back to part 3 of our read aloud for the main story.
What's up, guys?
Okay, let's get into it. So last time we ended off at
Was it?
goal. So
Oh, was
now
it
we're
goal?
going to talk about the Torii Gate. Okay.
Okay, let's go. Well, could it be you originally bought this bottle here with another purpose in mind? Inarizushi smiled warmly, but the smile made Menteko fall silent. Running into the youngster on his way to deliver the alcohol was an accident to begin with. If he hadn't run into him, then the young man more than likely wouldn't have been able to bring his little sister to Unite Shrine. Clearly, Naizushi was insinuating that he would have to choose between the request he was originally coming to make and saving the girl.
Wasn't the whole reason you set up this shrine to help these people?
Not at all. Obviously, it's a human to force the master into staying here.
Oh, it's just the name in Chinese. Was it?
明太子。
讲豆皮 or something?
长豆皮. Sorry, I spoke out of turn.
It appears Master Mentaiko is unable to decide exactly what he wants. How about we go for a sit in the shrine?
Master!
It's fine. He's a friend of Daiginjo and Tsukimi.
Huh.
Mentaiko followed behind Narizushi as they walked slowly through the Torii, and Aburage grumpily made faces at Mentaiko. Legends say that inside the Torii Gate is a whole other world of the shrine, and just as he stepped foot inside the Torii, the rustling of the leaves in the mountain forest and the clarion calls of the birds were suddenly sequestered outside the Torii.
Sequestered.
Mentaiko was a bit dazed at the sudden change of the weather past the Torii. What looked like a long climb up the mountain suddenly cut to the end. Just another step and he would be before the shrine. Meanwhile, the young man following behind the other two held on tight to his little sister, wide-eyed and dumbfounded by the sight before him. While he was still speechless, Aburage walked up to him with an air of disdain.
Humans, go! What are you gawking at?
I'm coming! Mentaiko sat before a low table that Aburage had set, looking at Inarizushi, who had transformed into his youthful self and was leisurely pouring the alcohol into a decanter. The young man in turn following directions from Aburage sat at a nearby table. What? Curious?
Am I being that obvious?
Yes, although you're not the first person I've seen this expression on. You're very curious as to whether I'm a man or a woman, yes?
Ooh, so what do you think, Jennifer?
He's gonna pull like a Uno reverse card and say neither, probably. Like, or both.
Because, you know, it's supposed to be like a fox spirit, right? And like tricksters.
Gosh, I sort of say no gender.
I don't know. Uh-huh.
I won't tell you. Heh heh. Maintaining an air of mystery is imperative to keeping others respectful and curious towards one.
Okay.
What was the point of that?
It was just extra. No, that was basically, we're gonna walk in the gate now. Okay.
Inarizushi's genial demeanor made a guarded Mentaiko relax quite a bit. He tilted his head and looked over at the bewildered young man holding on to his sister not far away.
You know, a future idea, if like, you know, we get more views. that one view from that one person, from my one subscriber. We know who you are. What is it? No, because like we could like put vocabulary on the side and say, is this a real word or not, and like what's its meaning? Because it's really hard. Like I feel like
there's some words here that aren't used in daily vocabulary.
Yeah, and get information and like.
And this is coming from like two native American English.
No,
speaking.
and since you know Japanese, I know Chinese, and since there's like errors and like you know some of it, like you know how it just mistakenly.
Oh yeah, because I know Japanese, so I'm trying to pronounce it in Japanese.
Yeah. Okay. Did you read this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Perhaps he does want to help them, or perhaps not. So.
You wish to say something?
The kid.
You're sure this is the request that you wish me to fulfill? The half smile on Inarizushi's lips made Mentaiko's hands tighten around the bottle. He furrowed his brow, but didn't know how he was going to persuade him. If you are certain that this is the wish you want to use this bottle of alcohol to fulfill, then I will oblige you. But Daiginjo didn't give this to you to fulfill some meaningless saying now, did he?
Saving her isn't meaningless.
Oh, then please go on. What exactly is the use, either for us Yagwe or for humans, in saving her?
She's very important to our older brother. Wow, he's such a anime protagonist.
I know, right? What a hero.
And he's like, oh my gosh, my troubled past of getting into fights, now I'm getting past that.
Oof. Mentako got no response from Narizushi, but he did see a hint of amusement in his eyes. After a long while, Narizushi finally spoke up. Important?
Yes, very important.
Everyone who comes here to make a wish says as much. Some are human generals, some princesses. Which of them aren't more important than her? If you wish to give me this bottle in exchange for saving her, of course I won't refuse you. But is she truly more important than the reason you came here? Or, in other words, is everything you seek in your heart nothing more than a pipe dream you prattled on about when you were still a little kid playing house?
Asking the real questions here,
Wow.
Just pick, dude. Let him pick, okay? He said he want to save the girl.
Decisions.
Yeah, okay.
He just wants to play with them. He needs entertainment. Who knows
okay.
how long he's been alone?
Divinity.
Or in other words,
You read this already.
yeah. Before Mentako could mount a response, Inaizushi pushed a cup of alcohol towards him. The clear liquor swayed in the container, its surface rippled by the falling cherry blossom leaves. I've heard of the affairs at the Nearable Moon. I have no great affection for humans, but the progress you managed to achieve does indeed surprise me. Mentako was a bit taken aback by Narizushi's sudden praise. He looked up at the man, and his kind smile, but before he could say anything, Narizushi raised his glass and clinked it against his own. However, saving a single street of humans and food souls seems to have deluded you into thinking that this thing you're after will be a piece of cake, hasn't it? The clear liquor poured past his lips, with some of the translucent liquid trickling down the corner of his mouth. Narizushi wiped away the alcohol, then poured some more, only this time his kind eyes were tinged with the majesty of divine wrath. Or to put it another way, you'd think us others would just put aside the principles we'd adhered to so lightly, and to do things your way, just put aside everything humans have done? The sudden change in his aura made the cherry blossoms behind him swirl up, and his long hair blew. Around, his spirit power surged. Mentako leapt up, hand on his hilt and on guard against the Inaizushi in a sudden outburst of energy. If you have no sense of sacrifice, then how exactly are you going to pay those who have believed in you? Inanizushi's spirit power lifted him slowly into midair. His tail flapping behind him amidst the falling cherry blossoms suddenly reminded Mentako of the legend of the goddess Inari.
Wow, he's really not. Oh well, the fox spirit is not letting Mentako speak at all. Dang, we get a monologue. You literally have.
He's like, this is my soliloquy. You're not here. Gods are without a heart, without mercy. Mentako gripped his katana tightly, and fish rows swirled around him, slowly changing from their opaque state to a glowing red, which revealed the shapes of swimming fish within. Unlike Mentako's fiery temper, once the spirit power began emanating, it enveloped. The struggle. Enveloped.
Honestly, it does look like envelope.
Enveloped.
No, it's actually spelled the same way.
It's spelled the same way. It's just we have to distinguish how to stress when it's stressed. Enveloped, the whole shine in stillness, like when a hunter at sea is waiting to pounce, making not one ripple. With a slight shift of his foot, Mentako had let the shallow devoe on the ground.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
It's French.
Okay.
With the blast, Mentako rushed towards Narizushi. Just as Narizushi was thinking to himself, this peremptory little boss was about to swing his katana at him. Mentako suddenly brushed past him, swinging his sword at the young man who at some point had come behind him. The young man's figure was enshrouded by a massive black shadow.
Ooh, fascinating. So approval.
The katana swung, and Mentako splashed a line of blood on the ground. He turned back and looked at the young man with a ghastly pale face and a little sister in his arms, and a look of disappointment in his eyes. The young man shuffled backward half a step, lips trembling. Without Minteko even saying anything, the young man stumbled back and fear several steps and fell to the ground. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. That guy told me if I got him into the shrine, he would cure my sister for me. Off to the side, Nanizushi cocked his head and looked at an expressionless Minteko. The folding fan in his hand was brought back to his lips, which curled upward in a small arc. When did you realize?
As soon as we entered your shrine.
Oh? And you still hesitated about using the bottle to save her?
Those are two separate things.
And Nanizushi watched Minteko scratching the back of his head in consternation and was unable to stifle a laugh. Well, have you decided?
If you save her, then you won't agree to my request. This bottle was given to me by Daijinjo in order to get you to agree to that request. So, I can't just use it for whatever, but...
Minteko, who was so worked up just now, sat down on the ground in a huff and scratched his hair, turning the neatly combed locks into a tangled bird's nest.
This sucks. Okay.
The sound of laughter behind him.
Oh, that's the sound like a good laugh, but... Yeah, it's that sound.
The sound of laughter behind him made Minteko turn his head to look at Naizushi, the source of his conundrum. The pathetic look in his eye almost made it impossible for Naizushi to hide a smile.
What are you laughing about?
Naizushi returned to the solemn and elegant appearance of when they first met. He walked over to Minteko and squatted down, poking him lightly in the middle of his forehead.
Oh?
Why not ask me to grant you an additional request?
Although I do want to become master of Sakurajima, and that's the only way I can make everyone stop having meaningless wars? Stop having meaningless...
I was a measly wars.
Oh, yeah, okay. Measly wars and bullying the weak. I also want you all to believe in my way of doing things from the bottom of your hearts, and obey me willingly, not force anything upon you. Moreover, I don't want to be like those people. I don't want to compel people to do something they don't want to do. I hope one day you all sincerely want to protect those people, just like me.
I'm just like you.
Okay, right.
You're just like me. Looking into Minteko's sincere eyes, Narizushi was a bit stunned. Suddenly the smile on his lips surged up for a moment, more splendid than a cherry blossom. It seems I have you pegged wrong. It is not that you lack awareness, you're just too naive.
Huh?
With a look of confusion, Minteko watched Naizushi stand up and once again spread open his fan, covering the warm smile on his lips, with only a pair of vertically pupilled fox eyes peeking up over the top. As repayment for you saving me, this time I will grant you an additional request.
Really?
Yes, really.
That's great.
But, Your Little Highness Minteko, please remember that in the future, you will not always be able to have your cake and eat it too.
Ooh, wow.
Jesus Christ!
Wow. Fox is smart.
Oof!
That's true.
Inari very much looks forward to the day your Little Highness gets what he so wishes for. Little Highness, do not let me regret the exception of making this time.
Hey, the Yagoi.
With another word, Naizushi took the two children back into the shrine. It didn't even register that Minteko what had just happened until Abirage had escorted him back down to the bottom of the mountain.
Hey, so... Night Parade of Demons.
The master will be punctual.
Right, no showing up late.
Minteko walked down the last few steps and stretched out his arms, relaxing his somewhat stiff body.
Phew. Next up, the last piece of the puzzle.
He patted his cheeks and let out a breath. But then, that last line that Inazushi said echoed in his mind, taking out a little bit of the joy he would have felt upon half completing his task. It did not escape him that if Inazushi wouldn't have dropped a little hint, that business most definitely would not have ended so perfectly. He wasn't even quite clear that in actuality he was indeed too naive for a leader.
What am I thinking? I'm the world's greatest, the main man, Mentaiko. If he can't do it, then who can?
As to pump himself up, Mentaiko put his hands on his hips and stood on a stone chair at the bottom of the mountain, shouting loudly. Passersby looked confusedly at him, and noticing these gaze, he in turn licked his lips bashfully and scampered down off the chair.
Phew. Up next is Bachi Island. Although, where is Bachi Island?
Perhaps the way he was casting about this fear that amused the passerbys. Many people cracked a smile at his childish antics, and some even came up to strike up a conversation with him. Hey there, little buddy. Are you going to Bachi Village? What are you going to do there? That's not a place one can just go on a whim. It's dangerous.
No, I'm going to Bachi Island.
I do not know where Bachi Island is, but I do know where a place called Seagot Village is. It used to be called Bachi Village.
Bachi Village.
But I wouldn't just go there if I were you. It's crawling with monsters.
Why?
That village performs live human sacrifices. And if they don't have enough people, they'll snatch people passing through. A little guy like you would be a prime target.
Live humans?
Yep. So as to not get devoured by the sea god, every few days they make a sacrifice to the sea.
Where's that village?
Huh?
Where's that village?
It's near the eastern seashore. The shore over that way is terrifying. Every now and then, a giant snake bigger than an island will appear. Why do you ask?
I'm going to pick a fight with the sea god. Giant snake? Interesting.
As the passerby stared perplexedly, the fish realm Mentaiko flew out from his hem and started floating around him due to his excitement, scaring the passerby so bad that he stumbled backward onto the ground. Yagwe! Ah! Mentaiko looked at the passerby who just now was helpfully answering his questions, but was now falling on the ground in fear. The fist hanging at his side tightened, and the next moment, this erstwhile good-natured pedestrian snatched up a rock and threw it at him. It's all the fault of you, Yagwe! If it's not for you, Yagwe, then those monsters never would have come!
Wow, this is teaching us about racism. It wasn't us.
No! Don't come here! Don't come here!
Okay.
This village by the sea was far from affluent. The presence of the sea god made the already impoverished village life even more arduous. Mentaiko walked through the desolate island. Desolate land. Seeing a frail youth curled behind a... This is testing me! Dilapidated wall brought a scowl to his face.
What on earth is going on here?
A sound of light sobbing wafted through the lifeless village. The thin voice had an edge of bitterness to it, casting an uncomfortable air over the entire village. Mentaiko slowly walked in the direction of the voice. As it grew clearer, there appeared a maiden, sitting on the ground and sobbing. When I read maiden, I was like, dang it! Okay, what voice should I do this?
I don't know, she's crying. Boo.
The girl's clothes were clean and brightly colored, looking very out of place at the village overall. Her hair was even bound in a neat bun, but her sobbing was exceptionally miserable.
Hey, what's wrong? Is someone giving you a hard time? Hey, what are you crying for? Is someone giving you a hard time?
Oh! The girl was mute in her misery, only realizing there was someone next to her when Mentaiko raised his voice, which only caused her to shrink back in fright. Who are you?
That's a long story. Why are you crying? Is someone bullying you? I'll help you clobber him.
No, I'm going to die soon.
Huh? Why? Do you have some kind of disease?
They're going to sacrifice me to the sea god.
Sacrifice?
I don't want to die.
死にたくない。
死にたくない。
Honestly,
死にたくない。
honestly, if you like spoke, like if you translated all in Japanese, that would be
Yeah,
great.
right.
あと、looks like I have to have words with that sea god.
Suddenly, Muteko saw the maiden's eyes light up. He parted his lips, exposing his sharp fangs, and squatted down in front of her.
Hey, you there. Tell me all about the sea god. If you tell me what I need to know, then tomorrow, your main man here will go deal with the sea god for you. Okay.
Okay.
That was some good voice acting, Jennifer.
Yeah.
That's funny,
From
that's funny.
real pain, you know?
Yeah. Hey, lucky fluke. So, you mean, if you guys don't offer a sacrifice every so often to the sea god, then he'll come ashore and eat people?
Right. Although sometimes, even if you do make an offering, the sea god still comes ashore anyways. But at least every time you make an offering, we have a chance of having peace for a time.
Then, why don't you all just leave here?
Our homes are here. Seeing the young woman stand where Manteko had at least a guess at what the real answer was. Not willing to go through hardships, still hanging on to hope. And the ones being sacrificed weren't yourself. After an awkward silence, Manteko let out a heavy sigh. But before he could say anything, a group of people carrying various weapons came walking towards the maiden. The maiden reflexively shrunk behind Manteko's body. Although the person wasn't tall, and even appeared to be a child, for some reason she felt a sense of security from him.
Who are you? Hand her over right now. Who am I? Who are you all? What right do you have to make an offering out of her? This was all determined by the drawing of lots. Enough with your nonsense. Hand her over. Okay. Protection. If this is all you got, it's not gonna be enough if you want to defeat the big guy here. Just what is it you want? Me? Me? I just want to see the so-called sea god of yours, that's all. You think you can just snap your fingers and see the sea god? What's so hard about it? Weren't you going to deliver a sacrifice to him? Yes, but if we bring you, it will surely enrage the great sea god. Then, are you actually gonna make a sacrifice, or not?
As an arrogant smile spread across Manteko's face and the knuckles of his fingers popped, the bloodied and bruised villagers instantly backpedaled several steps.
Huh? Whatever you say. Don't worry, today I'm gonna have a nice little chat with that sea god, and in the future, he won't be asking you for sacrifices anymore. But, if you kill the sea god, then in the future, we won't have fish delivered up onto the seashore. Huh? No, nothing.
Ooh.
Some secrets, you know?
Ow.
Whoa, okay.
Oh, the true sea god.
Don't-
Oh, not yet. Oh, dang, that's a lot.
See how much?
Wait.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 8, 9, 10, okay. Stone Island.
Red tinged bubbles floated on the ebbing and flowing tide waters, looking quite dark in the night. The beach was littered with carcasses, and upon the carcasses were black crows, not normally seen at the shore, pecking at the rotting flesh. A petite figure sat in the sedan chair, being delivered on the covers of the night to a little seaside island. His head was lowered, blocking his face under his wide-brimmed hat. Against the sound of crashing waves, the sky gradually darkened. A mist also arose from the sea, so thick you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. Not far away, on the surface of the water, there appeared a certain shaped silhouette.
Isn't this Hachi Island?
The white-capped waves emanated a stomach-churning, evil stench. It was a smell like rusted metal, but dizzyingly thick. As the waves rose higher and higher, everything around the island was gradually covered with water. The boat the villagers brought Mintaka to the island on was completely submerged, and the little island became... And it's like... What? What? I don't understand. Meanwhile, sitting in the stand chair, Mintako's feet were covered with red seawater. Mintako clenches. He clenches his fist a lot. That's just Mintako, just clenching his fist.
Jeffrey, he's a shonen protagonist.
And tightening his fist, yeah. Which were placed in his lap. The seawater reeking with blood was making him extremely anxious. Just anxious? But still, he knew that the time hadn't come yet. Suddenly, a plain human figure appeared on the sea surface. He was sitting upon something which seemed like a ship, yet it was a bit strange. As the figure drew slowly near, Mintaka could finally see clearly that although it was a ship, it wasn't the kind fishermen had went out to sea in, but rather it was a massive paper boat pulled out of seaweed. It was clearly just a thin piece of seaweed, yet it was pulling up the weight of a person floating steadily through the mist and toward the island.
Is he the sea god?
As he thought to himself, the newcomer was setting foot on the island. I think I'm on this time.
Jeffrey, it's a guy.
Fine.
Jeffrey, I think it's like a guy, like, but not Shota, but not older.
I think I'm on this time.
Or
After looking at Mintako, the newcomer let out a long sigh.
ferry boat.
Through the heavy mist, the figure slowly stepped toward Mintako.
Is this the sea god? What does one time mean?
The figure groped through the thick fog, he listed in a chair, and when he touched his side, he let out a sigh of relief.
Wait, who used that word? It's a grope through the thick fog.
Whatever. Got it this time. Come with me.
Where to?
The true Bachi Island. Ooh.
The true Bachi Island?
As if to lead more credence to his words, Nori lifted a finger and pointed at the shadow of the massive certain figure that was originally far away, but was now practically at arm's length.
That wasn't here just now.
Move quickly, it's dangerous. Nori lightly lifted up the boy kneeling on the stand chair and walked toward the paper boat he came on. Then a voice called out after him, stopping him in his tracks.
Are you the sea god?
A sudden forceful pressure made Nori halt his steps. He turned his head and slowly looked at Mintako. He looked far more powerful in the opinion. Get on the boat first. I'll explain later.
If you're in such a hurry, then get me a boat. Oh, then get me on the boat. Where are we going? Okay. Oh, ferry boat. Okay, it's just about getting on a boat. True sea god.
Last one of this one?
Yeah. If you're in such a hurry, get me on the boat. Where are we going?
Mintako had now drawn the weapon hidden in his face, and the fish roe that once stayed concealed all this time was now started to fly out. Perhaps due to its warmth, wherever the fish roe went, it dissipated the mist, and Mintako could finally see the youth before him clearly. The youth had horns growing from his head and a cold expression revealing little emotion. And by his side there drifted little animals made of folded seaweed, like his boat. But unlike his normal origami, they frolicked and bounced around like real creatures.
You're a fruit soul. How could a fruit soul demand a life human sacrifice?
Mintako's brow tightened as he pondered the question, and suddenly the handsome youth yanked Mintako toward him. Caught off guard, Mintako stumbled from the massive horse. Before Mintako had a chance to ask why, a sharp blast of wind brushed past his head and fell on the spot where he was originally standing, coming up with a disorienting cloud of sandy dust from the island's loosely packed beach. Careful.
Fallen angels? How are there so many fallen angels here?
A continuous stream of fallen angels crawling out of the surf swam before the pair, blocking off the route to the boat. The sea breeze carried an almost fishy odor from their bodies. It was not the smell of the ocean, though. It was a reek of human blood and flesh. They were the true sea god recipients of the villagers' sacrifices.
Honestly, I don't
That just got dark. I don't know. I'm kind of feel confused. Something about human flesh and blood.
No, because the village were like getting sacrifices, but we don't see the picture yet. Okay, well.
Yeah. Dang,
Well, that's all for this
guys.
part. Working for the final part. So to be honest, the event ends in like an hour. We're not gonna be able to read Kabukicho, Inari Shrine, Bashi Island, or Sakura Scarlet.
You mean Scarlet Sakura?
Oh,
You
okay.
really said dyslexic.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like
At least we finished the main story, so
yeah, we're gonna finish the main story. Yeah. Okay. See you in the next part. Bye.